Hi, this is Seth Streeter, co-founder and chief impact officer for Mission Wealth. And I thought it'd be fun for us to cultivate our advisor community for those of us who've been in the industry, maybe not that many years, or for those of us who've been in the industry for multiple decades. And I wanted to kick off by thinking about our early days in the industry, back when we were green and we were trying to prospect to get new clients, and we didn't really have that much expertise. We didn't really have much of a community that we developed to provide referrals, and we were just hustling. So my story is I started in Los Angeles, and about 2 years into my career, I decided to become an expert on college funding. So we would buy lists of parents with children in certain ages who lived in certain zip codes, and we would offer to do future college projections where we could tell them what their students' future costs might be at a UCLA, for example, and what they had to do to save to fund their college. And so in those early days, you were actually calling, trying to get people to take your call. And as we know, they were few and far between. But once I had someone who actually answered the call, and he was interested, so I was super excited. And he shared that he was an editor with a well-known movie at the time, which made me even more excited. But because of that, he was super busy. So he could only meet me on a Saturday, and I was happy to accommodate that. And so I booked, I think, 3 separate Saturdays in a row that kept getting canceled because of his schedule. But finally, we had a Saturday appointment. And so I was driving a stick shift VW Jetta at the time. I only had 2 suits and 4 ties. I put on my lucky suit, my lucky tie. I had some projections ready for his children's future college costs. And then I was driving my Jetta over the hill. It was a very hot day in the summer, and my car stalled on the 405 freeway, on the Mulholland Pass, for those of you who know it. And so this is pre-cell phones, I'm aging myself, but I went out to the call box, which was along the freeway, and I called, my only one call I could get, I called the client. And I said, I'm so sorry, I'm running late, is that okay? He said, no problem. So then I had to jog to another call box to make the call to get a tow truck. So I was waiting in the heat, nervous, sweating in my suit. But sure enough, a tow truck arrived, and I convinced this very nice man to drive me to this neighborhood where the prospect lived. And so I ended up walking in the appointment. I told him I had been just down the street, so that's why he didn't see my car. And I went in and got along with them really well and actually made them a client, got them to agree to start saving each month into a mutual fund toward their children's college education. And at that point in time, I left their home. It was becoming evening, and I had to walk about 3 miles to get to the wrecking yard where the tow truck driver told me my car would be. So I was walking in this not so great neighborhood, but I got there fine. And as I got there, it was closed. And there were Rottweiler dogs barking through the chain fence. I could see my car in there. And so I thought, what am I gonna do? So I saw a light on an apartment above this wrecking yard. And I thought, maybe the tow truck driver's there. So I inched my way along this wall, up this stairwell to get to this apartment, keeping the barking Rottweiler dogs away from me. And when I knocked on the door, sure enough, it was my very kind tow truck driver who answered. And so he offered for me to come in. It was dark at that point. We had some tea and some snacks, and he said, you know what, I'll give you a ride home. So he drove me about 5 or 6 miles home. I was so appreciative for him, and I ended up making him a client. I wanted to do anything I could to help him out, to start his retirement savings. So I set up a SEP IRA for him, I remember. And I ended up getting 2 clients that day, the tow truck driver as well as this editor, and I was just super grateful for that opportunity. And I can imagine you all have some stories of perseverance. Some of them didn't end as well as this one, and I'll share some of those too. But just to help us kind of reminisce, please do share an early story for you when you were prospecting. What was your niche? What did you focus on? How did you get access to potential clients? And what was one particular prospect story that kind of makes you smile? And I'm sure we all can have some gratitude for how our lives are so different today. Now we have digital automations, and we cultivate our centers of influence and get our client referrals and have other referral partners. So it's very different now, and I don't know if our younger advisors appreciate what those early days were like. So if you can relate and you have an early days story, please do share, and thank you so much.